Hello, Ramley. I'm Payo. Please like, comment, and subscribe, all that jazz. And tonight, yes, on this fantastic Friday night, I am joined with two legends in the Rams YouTuber community. I will be joined by Sheriff Joe Bags of Rams Showcase and Rams House. Both of their channels are linked in the description below. If you're not subscribed to them, you need to be subscribed to them. Seriously, go do that right now because it's so important that you are subscribed to these two amazing YouTubers. They're two of my favorite YouTubers. They definitely inspire me. They keep me going in this YouTube journey thing, and I really appreciate both of them. We're going to be talking Rams today. We want to hear from you guys. Talk in the chat, questions, comments. We'll try to get to as many as we can, as long as they're relevant. And yeah, we're going to have a fun time. Whether you're watching on the replay or watching live with us right now, please smash that like button. And yeah, we're going to have a fantastic night right after this intro. Yes, here we are. Welcome in Sheriff Joe and Rams House. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, no, and let's start off with Sheriff Joe. How's it going? How are you feeling towards this Tampa game coming up this weekend? We got two more slumbers, 1-2.
Dude, feeling great, actually, man. It's coming off this game against the Arizona Cardinals, which I would say is maybe the Rams' best performance of the season, coupled with a pretty poor performance by the Cardinals. That's a recipe for a blowout, so that was awesome to see. Going against Tampa Bay, man, the Tampa Brady Buccaneers are 0-2 against the Rams, so that's good news, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rams House, how are you doing? What are your thoughts, getting hyped for this game?
I'm doing really good talking Rams with you guys. Obviously, this week couldn't be going any more slow because it's playoff football, it's Rams football, but we're almost there. And to be honest, I'm actually really confident about the Rams in this game. I don't know, I just have that feeling, and even like the last two times we've obviously beat them, but something like I just feel like we match up really well against them. So I'm very excited. Hopefully, it doesn't backfire on me, but I'm just ready for some Rams football.
Absolutely. And of course, got to give a couple of shout outs in the chat. We got North Dallas 40 here. He's saying hashtag get the goat, horns up. Grand Desir 12, welcome in. Thanks for modding. Appreciate you. We got, I always mess up his name, but he still keeps coming back. Dreamix MC. I don't know how to. I know I'm butchering that, but that's an odd combination of letters to me.
Mr. Smith.
Yeah. What is it?
It's Mr. Smith, I think.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe that's right. Yeah. But anyway, I appreciate you, Mr. Smith. Sports Star Titans fan coming on in, and Jared. He's saying finally start the show. We're here, man. Sorry, we got chatting backstage a bit. Mr. Smith, 3 more wins and we can win the Super Bowl. Willie's here, and we got am I missing anyone here? NFL Chaos with Jeremy and Mark Jackson, our resident Cardinals fan. Thank you so much for stopping in. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash that like button, and we'll do our best to take questions. And of course, the Ramelia Sports Report reporting in. Good to see you. Ramulators, mount up. So let's start off here. I gave you guys a couple of questions to think about coming into this here. So we'll start off with those. And if we see some questions or comments in the chat that we feel kind of are applicable to what we're talking about, we'll definitely talk about that. So the first question I asked is, if you were to give this game a headline, like a story, like, this game, I'm titling it for my watch party, Can the Rams Beat a Goat? That's my kind of, catchy title, whatever you want to call it. But let's start off. Sheriff Joe Bags, what is your headline that you're calling this game?
Obviously, we're a Los Angeles team heading out all the way across to Florida. Both are known for their beautiful weather, but both teams are also pretty hot. But keep it with the Rams because this is, of course, I mean, we're all just Rams fans here. So I'm going to say LA Rams bringing the heat to Tampa Bay.
Ooh. I like it.
Brings the flakiness.
That's hot.
The flakiness.
That's hot. Yeah. Rams house. What about you?
Mine is a little bit more boring than your guys's, but mine is just Rams look to sink Tampa Bay Buccaneers playoff hopes ahead of Sunday.
Cool. No, hey, that's not boring. That's professional.
Sink them.
Yeah. I was thinking professional, but also thinking of like sinking like Tampa Bay's boats, stuff like that. So
okay, no, I like that. Yeah. We don't need their boat floating all over the place. You know? Very, very cool. So this one we'll maybe expand a little bit more. In Rams house, we'll maybe start with you on this one. What do you feel the flow of this game is going to be? You know, do you think it's going to be a massive punt fest? You know, with a 6-3 score, or is it going to be a barn burner, like 57-52? Like, well, what do you think the kind of the flow of this game is going to be?
Yeah, so I'm actually, like I said, I'm really confident coming into this game just because of how well we match up versus them and like the history of the last couple of years of when we played them. And something that I noticed when I was like watching the last game is it just seemed like we were able to protect pretty well. Like we were able to protect Matthew Stafford well. Obviously, with Whitworth out, we'll see how that goes. I think that our passing offense can actually get going pretty well, where it won't be like a huge struggle to be passing versus them. And I think also we're going to be trying to mix in the run, obviously with like Cam Akers again. They're a little bit harder to run against, but I think it's going to look similar to how we played them last time. Because last time it was closer in the first half, and it was like we were still wondering who was going to win the game. But near the third and fourth quarter, we really started to pull away. Our pass rush was getting going. I think that's kind of how it's going to go. And I think our defense is actually going to do a really good job this game. I think at the start, it's actually going to just be a little bit closer. But as we get to the third and fourth quarter, it's just going to be like, oh, the Rams are going to win this game. That's how I see it going, at least.
Yeah. Okay. Joe, do you have anything to add to that, or you kind of, or do you feel different? Do you think he's totally wrong? Do you think he's totally right?
No, I think he's kind of in line. Kind of what I'm expecting on this one will be that both teams will come out in the first half and try to establish themselves and try to establish control of the game and the ground game, of course. And it'll be Leonard Fournette for the Bucs. It sounds like kind of taking it, and the Rams running game is doing pretty well recently. So I think that's what the first half will kind of look like in the setup for that second half. Like, which game was it? I want to say it was Baltimore, maybe, that the Rams kind of did that, and then first drive of the second half hit Van Jefferson deep. And I think that's something that the Rams will try to do again for this one. Just kind of run. Second half, try to hit some play action on the first drive out. So,
and
explosive second half.
If you remember, like from the last Bucs game, it was pretty close, and we were trying to establish something. And then it was like the first or second play out of half, we hit Deshaun Jackson deep. So it's like I could definitely see that happening where we're just trying to set something up and hit it right out of the gates.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think I do think this game will have a I don't know, like I predicted this game to be, and again, my predictions are always wrong. So like, don't take zero.
So say we're gonna lose, Payo.
I always predict the Rams win, so I was right 12 times this year, 13 times. So that's not bad, But I predicted this game to be 31-28 Rams. And I do think it will be a higher scoring affair. And I do think that both these teams will be able to move the ball, and it will be about, are you settling for field goals or are you scoring touchdowns? Some announcer somewhere is going to be like, oh, you can't win if you settle for field goals. You hear that like every Sunday, it seems.
Yeah.
But I really could see this turning into a game where the quarterbacks are kind of at the forefront, and seeing Tom Brady, seeing Matt Stafford, and I don't know why. Like, well, no, we know why. It's because Tom Brady is Tom Brady, and that's the media attention you get. But like, he has not played well against the Rams the past 2 times that he's played them, right? Like, he had Robert Rochelle pick him off, right? And I like, I I'm of the mindset of like, Brady is my least concern coming into this game. I know there's like playoff Brady and stuff like that, but really, like, I think it's gonna take other Tampa Bay's other playmakers, stepping up in order to win this game, right? And I don't know, like, what do you guys think about kind of the X factors or outside of the quarterbacks?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's kind of interesting because obviously there's like bias in media and stuff, and I can kind of tell that with Tom Brady that like it doesn't really matter what we do. It just seems like they're like, oh, he's still a GOAT or he's still great in the playoffs, so who knows if they have a shot. But like for me, like you said, it's really about the other players on the team that are gonna have to step up because to me, with the pass rush that we have and the type of guys we have in the secondary, I think that we can actually do a pretty good job versus them on the defensive side of the ball. I think we can get pressure on Brady, and I think Evans, if we have Ramsey on him, he can do well. But for me, it's really about like it's you know how the Rams have a lot of good players, top tier players on their team, but the people who don't really get a lot of attention, they still have to play well to keep their roles in it. Like that's how the Rams work. And so for the Buccaneers, I think it's the same thing. You have to have your complementary pieces who not necessarily get a lot of attention. They would have to play well, and they would have to play really well versus a good defense.
Well, and one thing that I'm kind of looking at in this game compared to last week, because obviously both teams coming into this one had major performances in the wild card round, but I don't know, watching that Bucks game, I don't know if I was really impressed necessarily. Like I know that they went out 31-0 on Philly, and Philly didn't score until the fourth quarter, and then finally kind of put up some garbage time touchdowns near the end there. But I don't know, there was nothing about their performance that made me be like, wow, man, this team is on fire, man. Like, this is a team to watch out for. Nothing about it. And I mean, part of that is against the Philadelphia Eagles. They are not like they had no business being in the playoffs anyway. So it's like that wasn't impressive to me to see them win that game. So, I mean, yeah, obviously Tom Brady in the playoffs is a completely different animal. He's 12-1 all time in divisional games. You know what I mean? Like this is not a round that he typically would lose in. So I don't know. I think a big X factor in this one will be that front by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Of course, we're going against them without Andrew Whitworth, and that's a big deal. But also, I mean, we got to not pretend like Noteboom does not do a good job when he's in. I mean, when he's called on, he has performed well. So my concern there would just be that kind of camaraderie and knowing who to block and all that stuff. But I think that those meetings are, those meetings behind closed doors, I think are not. We don't know what goes on in there, but I'm sure that Noteboom's not sitting there playing Candy Crush on his phone while they're talking about assignments. You know what I mean? Like even Cooper Kupp is in there talking about assignments with them. So I'm not really that concerned, but I would say that front is kind of the X factor in this one.
And I know something about Noteboom, and we will take a couple comments right after this, but is Noteboom would be a starter on a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Right. Like we are so blessed to have him as a backup for Andrew Whitworth. And I think from the moment we've drafted Noteboom, I've never had a moment where I'm like, oh, I don't trust that guy on the field. And so, yeah, I'm thankful that he's there, and I'm excited to have him. Couple of comments here. Finesse Foreign, good to see you. He's saying, what's up? Jared is predicting 28-22 for the Rams. Okay. LA Rams superfan, good to see you. And Finesse said, I'm more afraid of the Niners in the playoffs than the Bucks and the Packers. And, there's some merit to that, okay, because of recent history. Yeah. Jared is asking, are you guys sensing a Green Bay upset? So that's an interesting predicament because, like, technically the Packers are favored in that game, but it seems like so many people are picking the Niners to beat the Packers this weekend. Again, we'll definitely talk. We're talking more Rams, but do you guys have any initial thoughts?
I kind of do. Yeah. I'll jump in here first. I think that the weather out there is going to play a pretty big part. You know, the story that we keep hearing is Jimmy's never played in a game that's under like 32 degrees, and this one's going to be like 3. And then the 49ers, I mean, we saw it 2 times this season that they can get the ground game going. And the Packers, while they are, as far as like game averages, are not really on the lowest end of the spectrum there on run defense, but yards per carry against the Green Bay Packers, I believe they're 31st in the NFL. So that is a little bit of a cause of concern. And that temperature means that those 49ers are probably going to try to run the rock. But something about this Packers team in Lambeau, divisional round, I really don't see it. But I'll be honest, I would love the 49ers again. I think that the Rams showed that they can not only play the 49ers well, but they can kind of beat them up as long as we don't let up and actually do that for 4 quarters. We were up 17-0 on them, feeling great. I know we were hearing a bunch of trash talk online and stuff like that for that first bit there, but I want either of those teams again. Like I feel like we have some unfinished business with Green Bay. We've lost there in Green Bay a couple of times. And then the 49ers, I really just don't see them beating us 3 times. Like we're too good to be beat by one team 3 times. So I want to play either of them. Bring any of them on. But no, I do think the Packers win.
Absolutely,
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility for the Niners to be able to pull off an upset. But like, I don't know. I don't see it because I feel like when the Niners are playing teams and they're getting wins or whatever, or like even when they're playing the Cowboys, it didn't seem like the Cowboys really wanted to win the game. Like it just felt like there were so many opportunities that were just left there that weren't taken advantage of. But I don't see that happening a lot of the times with Aaron Rodgers. I feel like Rodgers is a guy who exploits things or mistakes, and he doesn't make mistakes himself. And so based on that, like I feel like the Packers can match up points with the 49ers, and with the 49ers, they're not a team who goes down and scores really quick or can score really quick. I feel like a lot of their drives are just like really methodical, like grinding it out with the run game and then getting some passes, some screens. And I feel like if that's the case and that's working, I think Rodgers can keep right up with it. I don't think he's going to make the mistakes, especially with like the cornerbacks that the 49ers have. I don't see that happening. And I don't know, like you were mentioning with the weather, I just don't see Garoppolo performing that well in there. Even when he was playing in Dallas, I don't really think he played particularly well. And so I don't see it happening, especially when you have Rodgers at quarterback.
Well, think of it this way too: is you have that final drive. Jimmy throws an interception in the 4th quarter, and it was right at that point. He's like, oh, okay, he's not ready for this. You know what I mean? And I think if you put Dak and Mike McCarthy in that situation to try to go down and score, we saw what happens. But you put LaFleur and Rodgers in that same exact situation, and we probably just see a touchdown in a 49ers loss. You know what I mean? Like if they put themselves in that same exact situation, this is now Rodgers, not Dak. Completely different ballgame.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll agree with a lot of what you guys said. My only thing that I can contribute to this is that playoff football is a different breed. And it would be really fun to play the Niners again. I know some Ram fans don't want that. I know I'm of the mindset, and I feel like you guys are kind of similar of like, I don't want to wait till all off season to try and beat them. Like I want to beat them in the playoffs, and that would be so satisfying. And in contrast, it would be really annoying if for some reason the Niners did actually make the Super Bowl and win it in SoFi. I would hate that. Rich Eisen pointed that out on his show today, and I was like, ooh, okay, like please not that. Yeah. So aware that is on the table, but I'm honestly I'm happy if Green Bay wins. I'm happy if the Niners win. Like to me, it's just who's your next opponent going to be, assuming that the Rams win this game. But right now we got to beat the Bucks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got a pretty active chat coming in here. Thank you, everyone. Please smash that like button. Ramelia is stoked. Yeah, if he thinks they can go to the Super Bowl with the Rams, I like it. Interesting question here from Edwin that we're gonna go around, and I know none of us make a huge habit of talking about why we got into YouTube that much because we mainly want to talk about the Rams. But Edwin, thanks for asking this question. I'm sure there's a long story for each of us, but maybe let's start with you, Rams House. What made you want to become a Rams YouTuber?
Well, yeah, it was funny because initially when I made a YouTube channel, I thought it would just be cool because I was like, back then I was really into like creating things and creating new things, or like things that people haven't done, or creating new games and stuff. So that's what I made my channel for at the start. And then like I just found like it was really sporadic and I wasn't like sticking to much and it was just really random. So and then after a while I felt like like I realized that I was just talking my family's ears off about the Rams like all the time. And I was like why do this when I'm talking all the time? I can just like make videos about it. And so then I ended up switching to that around, I guess it was 2 years ago now, because last year was 2021. But I switched to that and then stuck to it because I was like, my only regret now is like, why didn't I do it sooner?
Yeah,
Because I just talk all the time about them. But yeah, I originally just made it because I wanted to create things and stuff like that, but ended up switching to the RAM stuff.
that's cool. That's cool. What about you, Sheriff Joe Bags?
I will try to condense this story as
Yeah.
much as I possibly can to not just sit here and ramble on about my stuff, because that is
Your
not
origin story.
the normalness. But I guess the start was I was posting in a bunch of Facebook groups, just just spilling out my thoughts on different topics and stuff like that. And I was actually reached out to by somebody who had a website and asked me if I wanted to write about the Rams. And within the first month of being on that website, I was the most viewed writer of all time on that website. And it was all just my own content, just sharing it out and stuff like that. And then I wrote how I speak, and that was causing a lot of confusion in different ways that I was talking, because people would not read it the way that I say it, kind of thing, and I was getting misunderstood. And actually, the title of the article that really prompted me to go audio, it was called "Rams Needs That Aren't QB," and people took that as I'm saying that the Rams didn't need a quarterback a couple years ago. It's like, that's not what that says, guys. There's other needs, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's not just one. And so I started Ram Showcase March 15th of 2016 was the first episode, and that episode is absolutely terrible. It is still published on purpose. It is awful. I have zero energy. I barely know what the heck I'm doing, but then I don't know how long it's been now since I've started doing video with it as well. But yeah, Ram Showcase will be 6 years old here, just a couple of months. But that was kind of the process of it. Love doing it though.
That's cool. That's cool. And for me, really short is I was a dude that like never commented or liked on any YouTube video. My username was always Payo time, which it has nothing to do with the Rams. Just it was a personal thing. And I remember searching in YouTube Rams news, and like nothing came up. Sometimes you get an episode of Rams Showcase, or maybe Rams Rams Talk with Trent if he posted something. There wasn't a lot going on, or you'd get like something from like First Take or something, and then like it'd be someone they titled it to do with the Rams. Then it was like 5 minutes of talking about something totally not the Rams. Then like they mentioned the Rams briefly, and then it was like so clickbait and into nothing. And so my first video I ever posted was literally me reacting to the Jets loss, and that was for my friends. It was very much just to like I was frustrated. My friends were texting me like, "How are you feeling? How are you feeling?" I made a video, I uploaded it, and I posted it, and that one got like a significant amount of views. And then I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And throughout January, I posted like one or two more, but it was actually last February that I decided, like, you know what, like, I'm having a lot of fun doing this, because like where I live, there's no Rams fans, like there's nothing here, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have fun with this, and I'm just gonna have as much fun on YouTube as possible, and yeah, it's crazy to think it's coming up to a year now since I've been posting consistently, and it's been an adventure, and I'm looking forward to keep on posting because I get to meet cool guys like you guys, and it still blows my mind because like Sheriff Joe, like I remember like watching your show and just being like, man, I'm jealous of that guy's setup. Like he's got so much cool. And I'm still jealous of your setup. And then finding Ram's house and enjoying his content, and I appreciated when because you used to do like board games and stuff. Because I remember like going back and watching and like this guy like was reviewing board games. Now he's just talking about the Rams. Like, that's cool. Anyway, enough about us. We want to talk about the Rams because that's why we have YouTube channels. Ramelia Sports Report, he's saying Rams keys, Rams score in the red zone, TDs, not field goals. Yeah, well, classic. Stafford, clean, efficient game with no turnovers. Akers, big game. Brandon Powell providing great field position on returns and getting after Brady. And yeah, a lot to take away from there, Amelia. Well, let's give a shout out here. We don't talk about him enough. Brandon Powell, Rams says, can we start with you? What has this dude done for the Rams return game?
I mean, so much. First off, he's probably added another 10 years on my life because I'm not really worried about him a returner fumbling or just getting their head knocked off. He's I don't know. I think it's cool to have a guy who's running north to south and like makes quick decisions. And it seems like as soon as he touches the ball, he's just going right up the field. He's not like thinking about it or worried about fumbling the ball or anything. And he just seems to like want the return every time. Like his life depends on it. It's just so funny because it looks like he's trying his hardest every single time. That's what you want. And there's been plenty of situations, even if he doesn't return it for a touchdown, where he sets us up in way better field position than we should have had. Or even last game, I don't remember exactly what situation it was in, but they punted it and it looked like the guy who was running to try to tackle him, he overran him. And I was like, okay, he'll probably like fair catch this. And he just caught it and just ran straight up the field and he got another like 10 or 15 yards instead of just like taking the fair catch because there's a guy running right at him. So it's just like, I feel like it's so cool to have him in there because first off, like I said, I don't have to worry about going to the doctor about my heart conditions anymore. There's just no fumbles. I know he's gonna fumble this week now because I said that, but yeah, I think that just the aggressiveness and he just seems to want it every single time, which is exactly what you want. He's a fearless guy.
Yeah,
yeah, man, it's Powell. I think that the biggest thing with him is the confidence. He does want the return, and that's amazing to see, man. And just seeing him out there, like, you're absolutely right. I mean, he sees everything so fast, and he attacks. You know, once he sees that hole, he's going north, and he's almost like that happy medium of somebody like Tavon to like a Cooper Kupp, where Kupp I think is very conservative on his punt returns, and he just most of the time, if he's back there, typically it's because of a fair catch situation, you know, and we just need somebody back there with sure hands. Yeah. Tavon was dancing all the time and just continued to dance around. He's not Dante Hall, and he never was Dante Hall. He had some good plays, but you know, he was never to that level. But yeah, man, with Powell specifically, I think that you can tell he wants to have those big returns. He wants to have those big splashes like he had in Minnesota. And even when he calls fair catch, when you clearly know that it's supposed to be a fair catch, that was exactly what the right decision, he still like hits the ball all angry, like he wanted to return. So I love to see that. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's just nice to have someone out there that like you feel is an actual return ace, as opposed to like, oh, well, maybe they can learn to grow into the, like, because for years now it's always been like, why can't we find someone who like is a legitimate return specialist? Where it seems like for years it's like, well, we're going to develop these players into it. Well, there's people out there that are ready right now, and then
I thought that was Pharaoh Cooper, but then we just got rid of him. Like I liked Pharaoh. I don't know. I know not every Rams fan did, but I was a Pharaoh fan, and it felt like we kind of moved on from him a little quick, and then we went through that carousel again of trying new people out, and get people getting hurt or fumbling. The fumbles are the most annoying thing ever on a punt because you're getting the ball back, and then you just not only do you give it back to them, but you give it back to them in way better field position than they originally had it, which is terrible. So yeah, it's cool that Powell.
You knew that it was bad when we had Ben Skoranek returning kicks.
Oh,
I was like, he's so slow. Oh my gosh, why are you putting him back there?
But I guess I don't know what is up with that. He looks like he's in slow motion on returns.
I will say I've been very frustrated with Ben Skoranek most of the season. I cheered so loud for him when he downed that ball at the one last game.
Yeah,
I was like, he did something right. Like
Benny, I think we high fived for that one. It was like Benny Spello, like high five.
I feel like he has like those plays that are Like a lot of them go unnoticed, like when he set up the Odell touchdown against
Yeah.
the Ravens and stuff like that. And he's actually a pretty solid blocker in my opinion. I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of that, but then it's weird. There will be like some plays where he's open over the middle, he catches it, and other times he like drops it. So it's kind of weird for me. I don't maybe like next year he'll be more consistent, but it feels like he just kind of like I don't know.
Yeah,
a couple of drops have been bad.
and like the reality is like this Rams rookie class has most of them been injured. And like outside of Ernest Jones, Ben Saronic is probably the most successful. But anyway, hopefully, we see this all the time where young players do get better, and I'm hoping that Ben Saronic is one of those players that continues to get better. He's got great guys to learn from. He's got like the best guys to learn from.
Hey guys, just want to let everybody know, and you guys know as well. The Vikings just tweeted out that they have completed their interview with Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris.
Oh, thank you for that breaking news. Ooh.
Take him. Take him.
I wonder if anybody will actually hire him or anything. It seems like Ramsey really likes Morris.
He got one interview, and there's way better candidates out there. I don't think he'll get it, but I don't know. We're going to have to talk about coaching changes or potential coaching changes. We got some football games.
Hey, you know
first,
what?
But dang it, I want him gone.
No, and I know Ram fans that are very much on the opposite end where they want. I am someone where, like, I believe it's fair to criticize Morris. He's not the worst DC in the league. He's not like a top 10 at all. Like, he really is someone who will have his good games and have his bad games.
Yeah.
And we've seen that this year. But I've talked to Rams fans who say, if Jalen Ramsey wants him and likes him, if players play for him, then I'm okay keeping him. And that's a fair argument to keep him. I would counter with, well, like, that's good, but that's also, we don't hear a lot of coaching drama within the Rams organization these days. Because Jalen Ramsey, I'm pretty sure he loves Staley, and we know that Aqib Talib and Peters loved Wade Phillips when he was there. So I like, if we brought in like Vic Fangio or someone, like I think Jalen could get along with him, like, whatever.
I agree. I saw a comment just kind of pop in about Kevin O'Connell on the other side, saying that they'd be shocked if he did not get a job. I would actually be surprised if he did, considering he's still not our play caller. I think he'll be back with us.
Yeah. We got a couple of great comments coming on in hot here. But I am sorry for the comments that are not super Ram centric. We're gonna, because we're Rams fans talking fans. We'll talk about the other games here and there, but we really want to talk on here. But our Titans fan is saying bring on the Rams. He wants a Rams Titans Super Bowl rematch.
I would love that.
What would you guys make the tackle on the 1 yard line, please?
Ernest Jones.
Ernest Jones. It has to be Ernest Jones.
Jones on the back of the jersey.
Yeah.
And again, pure speculation because Titans still got work to do, Rams still got work to do to get there. What would your thoughts be if it was a Rams Titans Super Bowl rematch? Start off with you, Rams house.
I mean, for me, I think like our whole team has changed and like our offensive game plan has kind of shifted a lot since that, and even you could argue the defense too because we have improved since we played them. I think it would definitely be a way better game than our first time around because when we were playing them the first time, it felt like all we were doing, and we had a stretch where we were doing this, but all we were doing was just throwing at every play, verticals down the field, spread set, nobody there to protect Stafford, and the interior pressure was getting to him. We didn't have guys like Cam Akers. Odell really wasn't. I don't remember if he was here or not, but he definitely wasn't a factor if he was here. And so I think for me, this team has really changed a lot, and we've added the running game more than it was in there before. And we could actually like run at them and tire them out more before we just pass it every single down and get to the situation. And we gifted them 14 points pretty much. So it's like I think that we would have a much better shot at winning, not only because like the players we have now, the chemistry, but also it feels like we've really adjusted to what we need to be doing rather than just doing, let's just throw it because we have Stafford now, throw every single play. Like that's just not a good key to success.
Dude, Derrick Henry
Yeah.
is a problem, and he definitely, the way that our defense plays, we're not designed to get punched in the mouth like teams like the 49ers do. We're more. I feel really good when we go against pass happy teams, and I get a little nervous when we go against the bruisers. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what that Derrick Henry Titans offense would bring, and so that would kind of worry me. And it goes back to lack of trust of Raheem Morris and not knowing whether or not he's going to come in with a game plan that's good enough to stop their strength, which is the ground game, and force Ryan Tannehill to beat us, which I'm not sure he could.
Yeah.
But that makes me nervous. Let's just go 10 in the box. Jalen Ramsey cover deep. And, let's just leave it at that.
No, that's fair. And I personally, I'd love that just for the like 2 weeks leading up to it, of all the flashbacks, all the replay of that 1 yard, like, that 1 yard tackle from the end zone. I'd be all for it. I love the media hype. Yeah.
I would love if we wore our modern throwbacks in a game against the Vikings too. And somebody told me, they were like, well, they won't let you wear an alternate in the Super Bowl. It was like, we just did that. Like the throwback uniform was our alternate when we played the Patriots. Yeah. They let us wear that, so I don't see why they wouldn't.
TW, want to highlight this comment here. Appreciate you, TW, and I know that I speak for all Rams YouTube content creators. We appreciate older fans who remember, the legends like Roman Gabriel, and but he's saying it's great to see a future generation of Rams fans. I have been a keen follower since 1966. Horns up always, on to victory. So TW, we salute thee. Yes.
One thing I want to point out real quick that I noticed, like, it's been so cool. I feel like it's ever since we added Odell, it feels like our red zone offense has significantly increased. Like, I feel like that was a problem for a while, even with Stafford. It felt like the first half of the season we would kind of have troubles. We'd have games where we would do good, somewhere we'd do bad, or we wouldn't convert. But it's just something cool I wanted to point out. I feel like we've been more automatic in the red zone, and like, I don't know. I think it's cool. I don't know if it's because we added Odell. I don't know if our scheme or whatnot, but I think that it's just something really cool to me because I always remember we would get in the red zone or we'd get close to it, and it felt like it was so hard to punch it in no matter what, or we'd get pushed back. But just kind of like a little side note, I thought it was cool. And it's cool seeing those fades to OBJ too, like 2 for 2 on those. I love to see more of those.
Well, I think a big part of that in the red zone and having Odell now. First of all, I mean, Odell and Kupp are incredible route runners, and they can create that space even when the field is short. But I mean, we picked up Odell and we picked up Vaughn not to play against the Cardinals in Week 14. We got them for these games right now, and they're performing. Not only is Odell scoring playoff touchdowns, but he's also throwing deep bombs to Cam Akers out here. You know what I mean? Like, and that's awesome. And then you see Vaughn getting a playoff sack, his first playoff sack since 2015, which ended up being a pretty good year for him and his squad. But we got them for these games, and it's really cool to see them performing in this wild card game, and they figure to be a big part in this one as well.
Absolutely. And I something I've appreciated about Odell coming in here to this offense is you really can see like his progression in the offense from like, when he's playing the Cardinals on Monday Night Football after a practice and a walkthrough, right? Where we really wasn't that involved for obvious reasons in retrospect. I'll admit I bought into the hype anyway. But I seeing him progress, and it's clear to me that he was not being utilized properly in Cleveland. I didn't watch a lot of Cleveland Browns games with him in it, so I wasn't fully aware that there was like this beef until it got like some media hype. But I would have, I still would have loved to see this offense in its entirety with Robert Woods in it. Also, I feel like I love Van. Don't get me wrong, but like, no offense to Sharonik, he's no Robert Woods, and I would have loved to see that. And hopefully, maybe next year we can get a glimpse of something like that. We'll see what the offseason holds.
Man, it's such a bummer to not be able to see that trio, the Woods, Cup, and OBJ trio. That was like, I mean, once we heard we were bringing an OBJ, it was like, you got to be kidding me. We get these three together, and then of course the day that it's official, Woods goes down. That's
and the media blames it on Odell. Like, why?
Yeah.
And then you'll see some people that are like, oh, like the Rams brought in Odell because Woods went down.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, your timing's off. Your
Don't
timing's
know what
off.
you're talking about. Yeah. And it even frustrates me, and because I think I've talked about this with you, Rams House, before. Is the reality is the Odell signing wasn't to go sign a big name. The Rams needed a wide receiver. We had lost Tutu Atwell. Deshaun Jackson had his thing going on. We tried to get Josh Reynolds off waivers, but the Lions got him. We needed a wide receiver, and you can't tell me at that point in the season Odell wasn't the best option, right? So we didn't get him to sign a big, name. He just happens to be a big name that was available. But Odell was way better to sign than some practice squad guy off of another team, right? So I anyone who fights the Rams for, they're a super team. No, we're just a team that happened to be at the right place at the right time, and we have the guts to go get the players we want.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Atwell going down was definitely a bummer, but and I'm not gonna list him as a bust quite yet.
Yeah.
But there is something about his play and his attitude that has made me completely unboard the Tutu train, as I call it. And I'm like I said, and it's none of my opinion on Tutu is ultimately irrelevant, but I would say for myself, I'm not necessarily expecting a whole lot out of his career at this point. But who knows? I still want him to perform well. It goes back to my thoughts on guys like Taylor Rapp and stuff like that. It's like, just because I'm a little critical does not mean I don't want them to perform well. I would way rather have a segment of Ram Showcase where I'm like, hey, I blew it. Taylor Rapp is awesome. I was way wrong. I screwed it up. Then say, see, I told you so. I don't want to do that. That doesn't bring me any joy. You know what I mean? I'll admit when I'm wrong. But Tutu right now, not just his play, but his attitude, I think is raising a lot of red flags for myself. I'm just not sure he fits into our culture as well as some others do.
That's fair. Before we get to some more comments and questions here, I do want to I geared this up ahead of time. I want to look at the injury report headed into this game for both the Rams and the Buccaneers. So I'm going to share my screen here because sharing is caring, just like that. And we're going to zoom in, make sure everyone can see that. Can you guys see that okay? No, you can't.
I can see it. I don't know.
Okay. There you go. Okay, now that's better. Okay, there you go. So we know, unfortunately, Big Wit is out. We've talked about that. No Boom will step in. Buddy Howell is doubtful. Taylor Rapp is out still with the concussion.
Hey, actually, real fast on Buddy Howell. Stu Jackson was tweeting something about Buddy Howell being inactive, but then he followed it up pretty quick by saying, "Oh, that was my mistake. It looks like Powell will be good." Oh, or no, sorry. Ooh. Powell, not Howell. That was my mistake.
Okay.
Continue. Carry on. Don't listen.
It's their names are similar, right? Because they both start with B, and then there's the well in them. But
B, Owl, and that's my bad. Ignore that.
No, that's fair. But it looks like Brandon Powell, and Troy Reeder and Ben Saronic were full participations, and I don't think at any point in time we were really worried about them missing. Now, I do want to we won't go through the entire Buccaneers list here, but I want to point out, so on the Rams injury report, and then you go to the Buccaneers injury report, and it is significantly longer.
That's normal for the last 4 years for us, though. Ours is usually 3, 4, 5 people, and then the opponents is all crazy.
Yeah, no, it's been a fun thing about the Rams fans is they keep their team healthy for the most part here. But anyway, we're not going to go through the entire Buccaneers team, but they do have, in terms of health, the Rams do have the advantage coming into this game, which is something I'm thankful for sure.
Good job, Reggie Scott.
Yeah,
So
Reggie and the crew, man.
Love
It's
it.
I just really like. Not only do I want the Rams to win this game because I'm a huge Rams fan, would love to get another playoff win, but I really don't want to see a situation where we have to say goodbye to Witt, not knowing that last week was his last game. I really don't want to see that. I want to see him out there on the field. I want him to have a moment where we can send him off in the right way. I would just hate to have this game be a loss and then he announces his retirement and then we didn't even know that we were watching the final snaps of Witt last week.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point. That kind of breaks my heart a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyway, hopefully that is not the case. And shout out to Michael. Appreciate you. And then we also have Johnny G has an excellent little fact. Every time the Rams have defeated the Bucs in the playoffs, the Rams make the Super Bowl.
Yes, but because both of the Rams and Bucs playoff games have been NFC Championship games, so yes.
Oh, okay. That's a very good point. Very good point. We got here's a question here from Brian B. How many sacks do you think we get on Brady on Sunday?
All of them.
Every sack.
I think we go big on this one, by the way, with guys like Wirfs out and Jensen. It looks like he'll play, but he is a little bit beat up, and I think we kind of have definitely the advantage in that regard. But I think that we can get after him. I think Vaughn is a guy that is the perfect addition for this kind of situation. I'm going to go ahead and put it at 6. I think we get after Brady.
6.
I would probably say I think that we can provide pressure. I think we'll get 4 just because of how quickly Brady gets rid of the ball. Like, I know that we can cover pretty well, but it just seems like he's just throwing it quicker and quicker. And like we saw when we played Rodgers and stuff like that, we couldn't get to him as effectively. But I do think that we're going to have like a lot of pressures in his face a lot of the day, but I think we end up coming out with 4.
Well, we got to be careful in this one too, because our ref is Sean Hockley. And this season, he's kind of been known as a little bit of a flag-happy situation. But I know it's like a super crew and stuff like that. It's not his normal crew. So hopefully that is okay. But we also saw it last week. Brady took a normal football shot, and it was not bad at all. It was flagged right away. So that does give me a little bit of cause of concern there. But hopefully we'll be all right there.
Oh man, I want no more laundromat games. They're my least favorite games. Shout out to Toon Link. Good to see you, man. Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports, Man Down Podcast. Great to see y'all. Okay, Finesse Foreign. Why don't we give Harris a chance? Are we waiting till next year?
Probably. It sounds like we don't even really use him on special teams that often right now. Yeah. But Jacob Harris, when we first brought him in, it was like I was pumped about it. It was like, man, Higbee and Harris, this is gonna be a sick combo. Like that's the new Higbee and Everett kind of thing. And I don't know what the coaches are seeing. And I always have the standpoint of, if the coaches aren't itching to get somebody out on the field, then fans have no reason to, because they're in meetings with them. They're on the practice field with them every day. So I think that his time will come. I'm not sure exactly what the hold up is, because it looked like in preseason we were just forcing them the football. It was just like, we're in the red zone, throw Harris fades. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Jacob's
out for the season with an injury.
Yeah. Isn't he out?
Yeah, we weren't using him at all. And it looked like a special teams guy, but then we weren't. I don't know. He just didn't really get into the fold as soon as the regular season started.
Yeah. Well, and I think there was a little bit of hype around him in training camp, and so news travels fast in the Ramley, right? But I think you have to call him for what he is. He's a tight end who has potential, and he's got to develop. Right now, he's got to recover from a torn ACL, right? And hopefully he develops into a star tight end.
He's super athletic.
Edwin here asked a heartbreaking question that we're going to take, because I know a lot of people want to know this sort of thing. I've been asked this like 3 times in stream, but Edwin, you're making us squirm. Would you be okay losing Woods if it meant keeping Odell and Miller?
It's
I
so
will.
hard.
I will say one of my normal quotes. Rams House quotes this to me in messages all the time. Players come and go. The Rams are forever. I would hate to see Woods leave. He's absolutely a fan favorite. I love Robert Woods. But it's not like if Woods leaves, I'm no longer a fan or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, and Woods is actually one of those players too that no matter where he goes, I will root for him. That's not always the case, but there are those players that I kind of root for. But if it meant keeping Odell and Miller, yeah, I think, well, maybe a little bit less Miller, and that's simply just because of age. Not that I don't think he
Yeah.
can be productive, but Odell, I think, is a long-term Ram. I think that he fits in here really, really well. But that's a tough one, man. I would hate to lose Woods, but it may have to happen. Maybe not that. God, I don't even want to think about it, man. I don't know.
And
I'm
I'm
cry in
not,
my bed.
Yeah.
I haven't done a ton of research yet, just because there's so much going on with this season still, into what our cap situation looks like in this year. I actually think there's a chance that we do get to keep them all.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. We know that the Rams are a master at using the cap, and they're a team that's willing to, I believe the term is shoot it forward. And we have players like Woods and Cup and Ramsey and Donald, who have all done that. They've restructured their deal to make it happen. So I think if Robert Woods is recovering well, which I have every belief in him and his ability to recover well, I don't think it's crazy for him, Odell, and Miller to all come back next year. But,
I think for me, I know this is kind of getting around the question, but if I could keep Odell and keep Woods, but let Miller go, that's what I would do, because like Ram Showcase was saying with Miller's age, like yeah, he's definitely really good, and feel like he's just been on a stretch lately where he's just getting sacks and he's making a big impact. But I think like the players and the coaches always talk about how Robert Woods is like the heartbeat of the team, and like not having there, it's just like a little bit different, but he like obviously we would want to see that trio of wide receivers like we were talking about earlier, but also Woods is just such a good blocker. He's been here for a while. He provides more than what a lot of people see. And so if I could keep Odell and Woods, that's probably what I would do. And then have Miller, like I don't know where he would end up going, but like behind Von Miller, I feel like we have a lot of good depth there. Like Ogbo, I don't know like who we're gonna keep, but I know we have Ogbo, we have Lewis, and then Chris Garrett. So I think, and Justin Hollins too. I really like Hollins too. So I think we have more depth behind there as opposed to wide receiver. So if I could do that, that's probably what I would do.
Totally, yeah. And I need to acknowledge I'm just seeing this now. I'm sorry, Michael, I did this. Thank you so much for this $5 super chat. Really appreciate you doing that, Michael, and everything that you do for all of the Rams YouTuber community. That's so kind of you to donate that $5. It's been there for like 5 minutes. Oh dear. I am so this. Oh, there's a bot. We're gonna delete that. Let's see here. There was a really great question in here that I want to. Oh yeah. Do you think that Jalen Ramsey signs long term? He's under contract now. Does anyone know off the top of their head here? I can look it up here.
Didn't he just get extended like not that long ago?
Not that long ago. Yeah,
I thought he signed like a 5-year extension or something like that.
Yeah, so we have him under contract till 2025.
Yeah. So yes.
So I think he's here till at least then, if not more. So which, I'm glad he's not going anywhere.
Definitely.
We have our resident Bills fan Jake. He's saying, please take that overrated old QB out. We'll try, Jake. We will try.
We got you.
Michael brings up a really good point here. Aaron Donald versus Derrick Henry is going to be a heavyweight matchup if the Rams and Titans go to the Super Bowl. And we pointed that out in the last time the Rams were supposed to play the Titans, is Aaron Donald has never faced Derrick Henry before in their
I wanted to see that so bad.
And because Derrick Henry went out got injured the week before, so it didn't happen this season either. So that would be exciting.
It's the ultimate what happens when an unstoppable object meets an immovable object. You know what I mean? Like that is. Could you imagine the Super Bowl coming down to them meeting at the goal line? Like how amazing that would be.
Oh
Let's go. I'm for it. Yeah.
Me too.
Shout out to you, Mike, and Silly Fun Guy. And Silly Fun Guy has one of my favorite usernames ever. Let's see. Okay. Ramiro is saying the return of Ernest Jones is a big boost. Was hoping Sebastian Joseph Day would be back to shore up the D line for the playoff run. So we did have some roster moves today. Sheriff Joe, I'm going to bring it up here on Twitter, but I know you probably know it off the top of your head. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, Ernest Jones as well as Sebastian Joseph Day and Robert Rochelle actually as well all had their window started, their 21-day activation window. And of course, we're in the divisional round, so it's basically they're either going to play really soon or not at all. And I know that that's like the most ridiculous way to comment that because of course that's the situation, you know. So but yeah, it looks like Sebastian Joseph Day has been, and Daryl Henderson as well. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
But they are all designated for return. They are not on the active roster yet, and it does look like none of them are going to be active for this game, but possibly moving forward, if the Rams are able to make it to the NFC Championship game, it looks like at least some of these guys could be coming back. Robert Rochelle, I don't know if you guys pay like I know you guys pay really close attention, like most people watching pay really close attention as well. There was something said a long time ago about Robert Rochelle and the way that the Rams do their scouting and their grades for secondary players. And there was, I think it was 4 players that graded at a certain level, and that was Jalen Ramsey, Derwin James, some other corner I don't remember, and then Robert Rochelle was the last one that graded at their like elite level, and that's one of the reasons that the Rams wanted to bring Robert Rochelle in. And I've been really excited about him. It's unfortunate that he's been down, but Sebastian Joseph Day as well. If we can get him in there, man, a combination of Sebastian Joseph Day, Aaron Donald, and Greg Gaines in the middle, I feel so much better about our run defense if we can get those guys on the field. And I would love if we could get them, like, say we do play the 49ers next week, say we can win this game and the San Francisco 49ers win Green Bay. That would make me feel a lot better if we could get those 3 on the field at the same time to stop that ground game.
Yeah, absolutely. Ramsos, any thoughts on these reinforcements?
It was definitely a good surprise. I definitely wasn't expecting Robert Rochelle. I felt like Sebastian Joseph Day, I feel like eventually he was going to come back because I was like, I feel like at some point he's just going to come back. Henderson, I was expecting that. But yeah, Robert Rochelle, I really wasn't like expecting him to come back, but that's a good boost because I feel like we were kind of seeing what he could do. He's obviously pretty raw right now, but I think his ceiling is really high. So hopefully we can get these guys back. I really want to get Ernest Jones back. I just love the way that he's been playing and the way he was playing before injury. Huh?
I was gonna say, I think getting Jones and Sebastian Joseph Day are the highest impact ones. Robert Rochelle, I think even if he was activated, I think that David Long Jr. and Dante Dion are good enough to keep Rochelle down on the depth chart. Unfortunately, because I like him, but I think next year will be more of a Robert Rochelle situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm excited. I really want to get Ernest Jones back, especially if we win this next game. I feel like he was playing really, really good, and he's just so long. And I feel like, I don't know, it was cool to see him progressing. I felt like each week you saw him getting better and better. So I hope that we can get him back soon. And I feel like Henderson, for me, like, I'm still not like the biggest fan of him. I know that he can succeed and everything. I just don't know like how much of a workload he can take. And as of right now, I feel like Akers and Michelle are just kind of in the groove. So I feel like they could kind of be working him back in slowly here and there, but I kind of like Akers and Michelle over him.
It's also funky time, man.
Yeah. We saw him a little bit last game.
We like the funk. We like chicken funk.
Every time. It's funky time.
Oh, absolutely. Every time. Yeah. Oh, wait. Okay. Again, I think I've talked about this with you guys before, but every time we talk about Jacob Funk, I have to say my dream, if Jacob Funk does this at one point in his career, he will become one of my favorite Rams players of all time. If he scores a touchdown and the Rams on SoFi Stadium play that song, Also acceptable. It's time to get funky.
Yeah.
Like the cha-cha slide. That's also acceptable. Literally any song with the word funk in it, and he scores. My life is complete. Yeah.
If he starts doing like the little like the I need it, man. I need it.
Yeah. Brian B asking, do you guys think the Rams will use any trick plays this Sunday, like Beckham and Akers last Monday, or fake punts? Very interesting question, Brian. Ram says, any thoughts?
I think that I don't know. I feel like the Rams are a team who really don't use that many trick plays in general. So, which was part of the reason why it was so cool to see Odell do the pass because we just feel like sometimes, like at some points, we aren't that flashy in the sense of implementing trick plays. I feel like we would do that if we were starting to get down or it was starting to get to desperation time where we needed to pull out some things like kind of like the Cardinals did when they did the screen and they passed it to the other guy to get the first down, like they were in desperation mode. But like I feel like unless Odell's demanding it or really wants to do trick plays, I don't think that I see that, especially in a playoff game like fake punts. I don't think I see that. I don't know if I see another fake pass because I feel like we could save that for later, like down the line if we end up winning this. But that's me. I feel like the Rams don't do too many trick plays in general. So
I think we were saving a lot of it for the playoffs. So I actually do think we will. And one thing that I loved about that Odell pass, by the way, is by the time he threw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. I thought it was such a bad throw. And like in my head, it was kind of like kind of felt like OBJ was like, well, he's supposed to be here. So just, and just launched it. But yeah, it kind of seemed a little weird to see that kind of play out of us. But I think that there were some things being held back a little bit from our play calling, and I think that we will see that kind of stuff just kind of peppered in, not too much of it, but every once in a while, like a third quarter, throw in one of those weird plays like that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. And like I don't know, like I even think of like not that this is a trick play, but just seeing Stafford run it the way that he did against the Cardinals, like okay, we haven't seen that all season.
Like this move, whatever.
Yeah,
like he looked like he was like, "What are you doing?" Like,
yeah, like, so like I definitely think that the Rams have kind of upped their offense in a way of like, okay, we have to play like there's no tomorrow. Even though Stafford only had to throw it 17 times, which which I've seen people like go both ways. Like he played amazing, even though he only threw it 17 times. So like he didn't play that good. The team carried him. He only threw it 17 times. The reality is he didn't have to throw it any more than that. The game was well in hand early on, and I'm okay with that.
I've seen people saying that like after that game that they're comparing him to Jimmy Garoppolo, and I completely disagree. They're like he relied so much on the run game, he didn't have to do anything. And the throws he had to make were easy because they were running it well. And I was like, I completely disagree.
Yeah,
He's not Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
Lean on your ground game. You use your quarterback when you need to. Yeah. That's exactly what McVay needed to do. And that's something we haven't seen from McVay. I don't think really all this season is let's lean on the ground attack and then Stafford will do what we need him to do. Because it kind of did like week 1 against the Bears, it was like, man, this is going to be amazing. And then it got to a point where it felt like McVay was just calling pass plays because he's got now Stafford and he loves Stafford, stuff like that. But this game last week and hopefully moving forward, because it did kind of feel near the end of the season there that we were running more of that Goff offense where just do what you need to do kind of thing. And that's the reason I was excited to have Stafford in the first place was because of the success that somebody like Jared Goff had in this offense. If we could have run that same offense, but now with Matthew Stafford, I was pumped about it. And then we kind of went away from that midseason. We saw the losing streak, stuff like that, but we've kind of gotten back to that. And you can say all you want to about Stafford, he only threw 17 passes and he sucks and like all this stuff. But hey, we won the game pretty handily. If we were up like that and we were just launching it all day, I would have had so many more questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Shout out to Old Man Ghost, aka Bruce. Appreciate you. Who would I be okay if we traded? Sometimes I wonder if we have the same players that we started with this season with. Well, you think of like our roster week 1 to our roster now, and like it is a very different roster. which makes covering a team like the Rams so fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shout out Niners sickness. One of our fellow YouTubers who represents the San Francisco 49ers. He's saying, hopefully we can get a 49ers Rams NFC championship game. I would love it. I'd love it. I'd love it. We'll see. Honestly, it's like, and I say this not just as a Rams fan, but as a football fan. I think we're in for some good football this weekend.
Dude,
Oh yeah.
I can say I've been trying to put, like, I went 6-0 on my picks last week, and that's not necessarily to brag. That's just to kind of set up the fact that I have no idea who I'm picking in almost any game this weekend.
Yeah.
I am struggling to make my picks this weekend. Last weekend was easy. This one, I could see all 4 games I could see going either way.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Which is exciting, which is really exciting. Yeah. The divisional round is often, one of the most fun weekends in the football calendar year. So excited about that. This is kind of a fun little question here from Finesse Foreign. Name 4 players on both offense and defense you can't let go. Stafford, Kupp, Edwards, Higbee, and Donald, Ramsey, Jones, and Fuller. Yeah, like I agree. Like clearly you can't let go of Stafford and Kupp on offense.
Edwards is an interesting pick, and I would love some more reasoning behind that. Because I would say confidently, I think he's our at best 3rd best offensive lineman.
Yeah.
But if I were to go offense, I don't know if I would necessarily put Stafford. I really like Stafford, but I don't know if I'd put him as like a must keep kind of situation, because I think there's other players that are maybe a little bit more important. I think Havenstein doesn't get nearly enough love, but I think I would go Kupp, obviously, Higbee definitely, probably Witt, maybe I'll go Akers, because I think I underestimated what Akers was going to be potentially this season, and when he got hurt, it was kind of like, we're okay. He's going to be 2nd year back, hasn't had a training camp yet, stuff like that, but seeing the way he's playing today, it's like, he has not played all season, and he comes in after an 8-touch game, and he's playing like this. Like, who knows what would have happened if he was here all season? So I would add him in there. If I'm going defense quickly, I'll go Donald, Ramsey, Jones. I'm liking a lot. I'll give you that one. And then, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and agree with all those, because I love me some Fuller as well. So I got that one. I agree with the defense.
Yeah. Rams house?
That's really tough. I'm probably going to keep the defense the same. I'm definitely keeping Kupp. I feel like if I had to pick an offensive lineman like Edwards, I was going to go with Havenstein as well. And I don't know. I feel like he's really underrated on there.
Totally. Yeah.
It's hard because I feel like Stafford's really, like, he's good, and he's good with what he's doing right now. So I don't know if I want to switch him out. I'd probably switch Higbee out with Akers. Yeah, that's a really tough question, actually. It's like you on Rams Showcase, and you're like, I should have thought of this more before I got the question. I feel like I need like an hour.
I do that a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who do you pick?
I put Stafford in there just for the sole reason of we traded so much to get him. You can't cut him after 1 year. Kupp is a no-brainer. I'd probably go on the offensive side, Stafford, Kupp, Higbee, and then Ramsey, Donald. On the defensive side, I don't know.
We talk about the fastest player in the NFL, Greg Gaines.
Yeah.
I want to see him in the fastest man competition.
Absolutely.
He would blow everybody.
Tyreek Hill. I know he'll win.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what? Honestly, though, okay, let's give Greg Gaines some love. He doesn't get enough love. I honestly like Greg Gaines. He was always that name I saw on the roster. I'm like, okay, Greg Gaines. Like, it wasn't that you didn't like him, but honestly, it wasn't until probably halfway through this season where I really realized, like, oh, Greg Gaines. Okay. okay.
It's about the last 5 games of last season for me. I was like, dang, he's making an impact. I like this.
Yeah, no, like, and like, I, like, here's the thing: if like, I don't think he's in a contract year this year, but like, I definitely want to keep him around for a while.
Yeah,
Donald definitely likes him.
He's not only filled the role of Brockers, I think he's exceeding in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's like I feel like he's good at stopping the run just because of his stature too. Like I don't know, I feel like he's good at stuffing those holes pretty well. But it is crazy how fast he is and how much he can create the pass rush. And there's like one picture that somebody posted on the internet that had like Donald and him next to each other like rushing, and then like a second or two later, both of them like doing the same move, shedding it, or coming right up the middle. And that's so key. And I feel like I don't know. He has that quickness. He's definitely just developed so much since he's been here. And yeah, I'm gonna be honest, like I was the same way. I would see his name on the roster. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Or like if he was on the injury report, I was like, okay, that's not like a huge loss, but like he's definitely proven me wrong a lot. Like I was never really a huge fan of him or his game, but I feel like this year he's really kind of proving me wrong.
Absolutely. And we are coming to the end of our time, guys. Thank you for staying a little bit later than we initially discussed. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much. I'm sorry we could not get to every question and comment, but we appreciate each and every one of you. I know I'm really stoked for this game this weekend. I know these guys are too, but I want to give these guys, definitely a chance to plug their channel here. The links to both their channels are in the description below. So if you're a Rams fan or a football fan, you got to go subscribe. But Sheriff Joe, what can people expect subscribing to Rams Showcase?
Well, definitely some time put into editing those puppies together every week. It's a good time, but the video version on YouTube is where the most attention goes for sure. But I also clip that up, make that different shorter segments because I usually I tend to go over an hour on my shows, and I know not everybody has an hour to give to just one channel. So if you guys just want the game preview, you can find that or different other segments that I do that I kind of split up. But also, if you guys are avid article readers, then any page on ramblingfan.com, there is an embedded player on all the fan-sided pages there that you can just click play and listen to the latest episode of Ram Showcase. That's the very first place every single week that Ram Showcase does get uploaded. It's just audio only, but that is the very first place. That's on Wednesday nights there, and then Thursday morning is when the full video version comes out on YouTube.
Very cool. Yeah. And Rams House?
Yeah, so you guys can find my channel, just obviously called Rams House. I post game reactions, game previews, breakdowns, stuff like that. I'll be getting into some other content here soon. Hopefully, we aren't going to be getting into off-season content and continue game previews going up into the Super Bowl. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I always love talking Rams with you guys so much.
Oh, it's a pleasure for sure. You know what? Let's finish off the show. We're gonna tempt this. This might sound horrible, but whose house?
Rams House.
Rams out.
Yeah, let's get it. Thank you everyone for watching. We will see you in the next video. Enjoy football this weekend, and yeah, as always, go Rams. Horns up.